o'clock, it's shining bright. Turn the dial and feel the might. Just enough Heshy takes flight. Woo! Laughs and wisdom side by side. Heshy show won't be denied. Tune in live and ride the tide. Feel the rush and feel the pride. It's just enough Heshy. Wanna vote for Heshy? It's just enough Heshy. Join the crowd, it's messy.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another Just Enough Heshy show. Tom, welcome back to another show.
That's the first time you got this right on time.
In a long time.
In like months.
I know, because I came earlier than you guys. I timed everything.
No, we were both here earlier. The producer
was late, but I was here before you.
You were. Yes, you were. Yes, you were.
And welcome to our show, everybody. Welcome to what's New York City, what's going on. I have a lot of surprises. I hope that's coming up in the future. Some special guests. I don't know if he's going to come on the show. He's not going to come on the show.
The producer, he can come out.
The producer can come out whenever he wants. We also have an interesting summer coming up.
Yes.
I want to talk about my house upstate. Oh God! You know, do you ever see the movie? Do you ever see the movie The Money Pit?
Yes, that was Tom Hanks. Yeah.
Correct. Yep. Well, that house upstate is the money pit. Yesterday I was pulling down a tree and it's just
buyer beware. Huh?
I know, when the house you think the house looks good, it doesn't look good.
Yeah.
So I have a lot of stuff to do, and remember, I'm trying to make it for safety for. I like to bring special needs kids and special programs there, and also families that have lost their fathers, orphans, you know, they need a weekend away.
Sure.
10, 12 families, and sometimes a bunch of kids just need a way to go. So I'm trying to make it safe for them. I'm building a big, gigantic playground for little kids and, of course, my grandchildren.
Mira Nava?
Not yet. We didn't do the shout-outs yet.
No, but for her, too. Mira Nava.
Of course, Mira Nava. She's my oldest granddaughter.
That's why I brought it up.
And a lot of people have been complaining that I don't look into the camera. I'm looking at Tom because really this is really, but I should be looking into the camera more.
Well, you know what? Whatever the people say, try to do Heshy.
I am handsome. You know that, right? I am handsome.
Linda knows that.
You know, today somebody sent me a picture of me as Batman.
Yes.
You saw that?
I did.
And then my nephew said, "No, you're Superman," and he made me a Superman. I didn't want to post the Superman because Batman's more.
And the
realistic.
Superman movie's coming out here soon.
Oh God, another Superman! It's like the 90th Superman movie. I used to like Superman as a kid on television, but now you guys have even here he has a super dog.
Yeah,
that was from the comic books. There's no way there's such a thing as a super dog.
I mean, I'm gonna see it. I'm gonna watch it.
You go to all the movies.
I like going to the movies.
I finally got Netflix in my house.
Okay, what have you watched on Netflix?
Nothing. I don't know how to use it.
What's the point of getting it?
I understand. It takes time to use it. You know, just like any app, it takes forever to.
And by the way, Black Beauty asked, "How large is the house?"
Oh, so it is 2,500 square feet, 2 levels, first floor basement, and we have 9 bedrooms, which I made into 8 bedrooms because I want to set another playroom for the little kids, and I can put 2 beds in every room, which is about 16 beds. Plus, I have another 15 cots, so I could, when it's single kids, I can triple.
Why don't you just Airbnb this thing here and make some money?
The objective is, you see, you guys think that I'm here to make money, and I can make money anytime I want.
Yes,
and I can. You know, somebody tells me I'm leaving the city if Mandani got elected. I'm never leaving. I love this city. I'm going to fight for the city. And that house is not really made for me. Yes, I'm going to enjoy it with Linda whenever I can. But I also want to use it for goodness, kindness. You know, I was thinking about my little apartment where I live now in my house. And, you know, me and Linda were thinking over the 35 years that we live in the same place. We've serviced, we've served, we've entertained thousands of people.
It's a lot of people.
Hundreds and hundreds of families.
That's
forget the old way upstep. We fed tens of thousands of people, forget from the soup kitchen. But in our house ourselves, me and Linda were just thinking of all the weekends, the Shabbos, the weekday meals. What do you think we do? You know, sometimes when me and Linda
well, we're going to say a little our radio station.
Yeah, well, I'm going to say, is it already time?
Well, Almost. But
Well, it's almost time to welcome all our live listeners, right?
well, we're gonna do that in 10 seconds. If
10
you want
seconds?
to finish your Linda point
No, I'm going to finish my Linda point
after the prayer. It's a great segue because we want the radio listeners
the radio
to,
to listen. So go
to do
ahead.
that. So obviously, we want to say hello to everybody that's about to join us, and especially leading things off 102.7 FM WNEW, the legendary former rock and roll radio station, WJPR 1640 AM in Miami. It's actually hotter here now than it is in Miami for a change.
I love it.
And our flagship WSNR 620. Thank you, everybody, for joining us here on tonight's action-packed Just Enough Heshy Show.
Well, I want you to know, so I was just telling you that I'm never going to run away from New York City. I love New York City, and I've built a family in New York City. And you know what? This house upstate that I call the Money Pit now, we're doing it not just for ourselves, but for the special needs kids, for the people that I want to give it. You want me to rent it out? I can rent it out and make a profit. No, I want to use it for goodness and kindness. In my house, we feed people. We bring people up for Shabbos. We thousands of families really that I've invited over to our houses over the 35 years. We've fed just alone through the soup kitchen alone. Me and Linda have calculated over 8,000 meals.
That's a lot of meals
over the last 10 plus years. Just in our summer home that we had that we sold. Now we did hundreds and hundreds of people that came to visit.
That's a lot of homes.
That's what we do. You know, you're supposed to use goodness and kindness. With every week me and Linda prepare envelopes. We have like certain families we give, and Linda gets angry at me. She fights me every week. Oh, this $100 we're giving this one, we could use it. And then she looks at the name on the envelope. Oh no, they could use it more than us. And each envelope she helps me fill, she complains. This $150 you're giving to this family, Heshy, what we could do with this money? And then she looks at, they can use the money more than us. So she bitches and complains the whole time, but really we do good with it. You're right, I can save that money. I could keep it for ourselves. We can put it into our little savings account. But the point is if you're not going to stand and do goodness and kindness, and that's what my quote will be about today, then there's no use to survive on this planet. Do you want to run away? Somebody says today, I'm leaving, Heshy, you better leave town. I said, I will not leave town. I know how to protect myself. I want to protect the rest of the people. And that's why when they showed that little picture of me, I'm Batman, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I saw it.
I don't feel that I'm Batman, but I know that I'm a normal being that doesn't have special powers. But for some reason, I believe that I can do the impossible because I believe in the impossible, and I know I can help people.
You never know.
Yeah.
You never know out there. You just never know in the world.
Anyways, I want to give a shout out to my beautiful granddaughter, Mira Nava.
Favorite part of the show?
And of course, Layla Tamar, and of course, Benjamin Hill,
yes.
And then my other granddaughter, Ahuva, who's very, very opinionated, and she's only 1 year old. You should see those faces she makes. I love it. And of course, Yeshua, my oldest grandson, who tells me always, no. And my newest granddaughter that I finally saw, she's only like a month and a half. I swear to you, I saw her turn over. But whatever, maybe it was my imagination. Yael Miriam. Welcome to our show, everybody. And of course, Sergeant Peter, we love you.
Yes, right? Absolutely.
And Ellie, hello, welcome back.
Thank you for joining us.
Here's my quote for the show, my dear friends.
Okay.
Yours is not the task of making your way in the world, but the task of remaking the world which you will find before you. So that's my point. You want to be rich and powerful? Go ahead. That's not my job. No. My job is to do my task, is to find the flaws and the stuff that I have, the clay that I have in front of me, and to make it a better world.
That's it.
And that's what my thing is for. Now, I'm going to tell you a joke, and I warned you before the show.
Yeah, we were talking about this a little while ago.
This is really a funny joke, and if the producer doesn't like the joke, he's fired this week. Anyways, we had me, I do a lot of interviews with reporters and stuff.
Yes.
So one of them asked me to please have Linda at the interview. They want to have Linda at the interview. So I had Linda. She put on a little hat. She sat with me over there. And during the interview, the reporter asked Linda, how long are you and Heshy married? And Linda answered beautifully, we are happily married for over 35 years.
Okay.
So that's not the joke.
All right, I'm listening.
And then the reporter asked me, what makes a happy marriage and a successful marriage? And Linda's looking at me. So I said, I once heard this from somewhere else, so I'm going to repeat it to you because I believe it. I said, it's called a division of labor. And he says, what do you mean? What's a division of labor? I said, my wife, Linda, makes all the small routine decisions. She decides what house we buy, where we go on vacation, where the kids go to school, private or not, if I should change my job, and so on.
Yeah.
So the guy asks me, and what's your job? I said, I make the big fundamental decisions. He says, like what? I decide if the United States should declare war on China, if Congress should appropriate funds for the manned expedition to Mars, and so on. Isn't that funny?
I would say, Heshy, you are definitely the funniest
Come
man
on, that
today.
was funny. Because I told him decisions that I make really have no use, but he didn't make fun.
There you go. Producer thought it was funny. So that's why our producer, you pay him the big bucks.
I pay him the big bucks, even though I think we're having internet problems, but it makes
Well,
no
if you do want to give us a call tonight, you should look at doing that at 646-974-1580. That is 646-974-1580. Give us a call here, and I want to say hello to some people in the chat. Infinite Justice is here, and Heshy has the best, worst jokes in the industry.
No, that was a funny joke, man.
Well, and I want to say hello to Daniel Sweet. Daniel Sweet's in the house.
Don't forget to post our number on the show, 646-974-1580. We're taking calls, 646-974-1580. And Danny Sweet's on the show.
Daniel Sweet said hello. Heshy, how's he doing?
Okay.
JDL 613 Brotherhood's in the house.
I love him.
They are great. They likes my facial hair, by the way.
Yeah?
He likes it.
Okay.
Yes, and we have our friends obviously coming up here, HeshyTishler.com. That is HeshyTishler.com. So if you want to come out and find out what we're doing and the campaign's about to ramp up, you can do that there. You can also email us at justenoughheshy@gmail.com. Stop by the office anytime, 5318 16th Avenue, corner of 54th Street. And also, we're about to say hello to some more of our other friends here, like Mr. Anthony J. Finkel, who was at Essence not too long ago, didn't invite us because he knew that he couldn't afford to pay for that sandwich for us. But 347-228-2625, give him a call.
I still owe you $20.
I told you already.
I donated that money to somebody.
I always tell you, you need $20. I'll give you.
I know that. You better give me $20.
But yes, we want to certainly support Anthony, and success doesn't come from what you do occasionally. It comes from what you do consistently, and Anthony consistently does eat without us at Essence.
Yes. But anyways, DPH, what's their number?
347-228-2625. 347-228-2625. DPH at NYC. And then we've got more. Hey, how about you?
I'll handle that one. Green Line Building Solutions, where I help you with your plans and your permits and your filings, and I get you your stop work orders, your vacate orders, your violations. 718-871-0382. 718-871-0382. I'm located at 202 Forster Avenue. I even started to get permits upstate, even though I'm against that, because it's a pain in the neck. But
the producer wants you to move on.
Move along the line. Well, I don't know where
info at greenlinecompliance.com. That's 718-871-0382. 202 Forster Avenue, right off McDonald Avenue.
Right. Come on in. You get free. Like this week, I was giving a lot. I didn't even make money. I was just giving out a lot of free advice.
Oh, that's good. That's very nice of you.
Yeah. And I always do that.
Yes, good.
I always give
and hello to Marty Martinez in the house here. And Black Beauty wants to say, I'm glad Linda doesn't make world decisions.
She does. You know what? I make fun of everybody sometimes when I say to people, Linda tricked me into marriage.
Oh.
But, I was thinking back the other day, we were sitting down over the weekend, me and her, we were alone, and because she's going through a tough time. And I said, Linda, I always joke around you tricking me into marriage. The truth of the matter is I was thinking back as a little kid, and I remember now that Linda was the girl in my dreams. I really mean it.
I believe it.
I believe that. I even remember saying that I'm going to marry somebody by the name of Linda. I know you're laughing at that, but I'm thinking in my head. Or maybe that name doesn't stop calling. And I get hundreds of calls a day.
I know you do.
And the only call I dread that I get every day is from Linda. She calls me 10 times a day. I say, oh, crap, she's calling me again. I can't take it. And then when she doesn't call me, I say, oh, crap, why hasn't she called me?
That's why it means so much that Linda calls more than anybody
else. Oh,
else.
please.
No, it does, because you just said something that, listen, if she wasn't calling, you'd wonder, where's Linda?
Yeah.
Think about that.
I don't wonder where's Linda. I know she's a big girl, but the point is that I don't know. Sometimes, I think that's what a good marriage is. Not that you have to love each other every moment. Not that you can't fight with each other or go through bad times. You actually have to be together. You have to make those world decisions. I will decide if the world is going to blow up, and she's going to decide how much money we're going to keep in the bank.
There's a famous quote from a wrestler who's no longer with us. His name was Scott Hall, and he said, "Hard times don't last, but bad guys do." Heshy Tischler, the hard times won't last, but you will always last, my
Well,
friend.
now I don't hear you in the mic, and my mic is working good, so I don't care.
I'm right next to the microphone.
We're going to get into the local politics of Cuomo talking to Adams and blah blah blah. Mandani, I know you want to fight with me on that, but
I don't know fighting
I
on
want to
that,
talk a little
but
bit. Benjamin Netanyahu was in town. He was a guest of the president, and you saw how friendly they were together, and you knew they were in cahoots with the Iranian strike. You see that. And now Hamas reports, they themselves report, that 80% of the Gaza is controlled by Israel.
Yeah.
That's good. And Israel wants all the hostages back, but I hear that there's going to be a peace deal. And Trump so far has been on the mark. When Trump says, you're right, it might take a little longer. Nothing happens in a day. Even when I tell people you're going to get your permit tomorrow or everything is perfect or I paid the fine, not always things work. But let me tell you a few things about Trump. Can I
want to hear it.
Okay. Since Trump took office, that all these leftist idiots, by the way, Omar, what's that idiot's name?
Elon Musk?
Not Elon Musk. I like Omar, Elon, in the Congress. What's her name? No, Omar. What's her name again?
Omar Talib?
The one that I don't like, the Muslim lady.
You don't like a lot of them in Congress.
I know. No, Elon Omar.
And Infinite Justice did like my wrestling reference there. Razor Ramon. Yes, Scott Hall. Yes. Okay. And if you are out there while Heshy figures his notes out, hit the sub button.
I told you about it before. Elon Omar from Congress. The Muslim lady. Is that her name?
Well, what about her?
You don't even know her name. You're supposed to be the professional.
I said her name already. What's the point?
What's her name?
Elon Talib.
Oh, that's her name?
I think it's Omar Talib.
Omar Talib? I thought it was Elon Omar. I don't know.
Let me get to some of the chat while we figure that out here.
Right. So anyways, I'm going to get to my list right now.
And we're told that the voice, we're doing very good on the audio, by the way.
Oh, yeah, we are? Finally. Her name, here it is. Elon Omar.
Okay.
Getting the boot. She got thrown out of the Foreign Affairs Committee. Finally, she shouldn't be on there. And everybody cheered about that, except for the Democrats, of course, but there's a meltdown. But she never deserved to be on the Foreign Affairs Committee. I believe she's a spy.
Okay.
Anyways, so here's my list of Trump goodnesses that happened since he's out. Inflation is at a 4-year low.
Okay.
Earnings are up 3.8%, rising faster than inflation. Wages see the biggest jump in 60 years. Airfare prices are down 7.4%. Gasoline prices are down 38%. Wait a minute. This is what all of you complained about. Egg prices are down over 60%.
I'm listening.
Okay? That's what they all screamed about. Child poverty rate is falling. Household wealth is increasing, 1,000 new millionaires per day. Listen to this.
I'm listening.
$14 trillion in new investment commitments in the USA. Mm-hmm. And according to our Secretary of Treasury, $300 billion is coming in just alone this year on tariffs. We're making money for the first time.
On the tariffs,
we know it's coming in. $80 billion in tariffs have already been collected by foreign.
But a lot of them aren't starting until August 1st.
Okay, but already $80 billion has come in. I'm saying $300 billion will be collected. Military recruitment is skyrocketing. Mm-hmm. 0 border crossings in May. 0.
Well, that's probably his biggest accomplishment, but there's one thing that you left out, though.
1 minute. 160,000 illegal immigrants deported, and 75% were convicted criminals. China economy is collapsing. Wokeism is collapsing, and patriotism is back.
I think there's a lot of good things, but there's one thing that I do fundamentally disagree with, is that our debt is going to be going up $4 trillion.
I disagree with you. I believe that...
You think it's good that that's going up?
No, it's not going up. I believe that he's going to bring it down.
He's not, though, with the big, beautiful bill.
No, it's a big, beautiful bill, but that's that he's spending more money, but he's bringing in an income. Every business has got to spend money to make money. And now he's actually bringing in $14 trillion in new business. $14 trillion.
He may be bringing that in, but our debt continues to be increased.
Okay, so I think that he's going to be able to show us that what I understand between USAID and all the cuts that he's making, we're going to be able to cut the deficit this year between $2 to $3 trillion.
But over the time that this bill is going into law, debt's still going up. And
okay, but fine. But now it's going to start coming. Of course, it's going up the debt, but we're going to be able to bring in money to pay off some of that debt, which we've never done before. He's going to start paying off, the way I understand, he's going to start paying off China with the high interest rates and all those foreign bonds.
The CEO didn't agree with that, though.
Okay.
And Elon Musk didn't agree with that either.
I got that. And you know
And
what?
Thomas Massey didn't agree
Not
with it
always
either.
does everybody agree with it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like right now, we have two idiots, Brad Landers, and who's that other winner?
Jumaane Williams?
No, Jamal, I told you about the other guy, Brad Landers, and the controller. Who's
going to be Mark Levine?
Mark Levine.
Yes, Manhattan
So
Borough
what
president. Yes.
so Adams wants to bring a bill in finally to do a mask ban.
Yes, I saw that.
So that means that you're going to get a misdemeanor if you wear it a second time.
Yes.
And a fine. So now these two idiots, Landers and Levine, they want to do a mask ban for all ICE agents. Are you crazy? It's like undercover cops. You're not supposed to know who they are, and you want to do it because he wants to punish us. This is what the woke leftist people want to do.
That I agree with you.
They're willing to give masks to the terrorists, to the murders, to the bank robbers, and not
But you
to
know,
us.
I think there's an interesting point that you made, and I want to tie it into a general perspective. It's interesting now that people like Adams are for these mask bans and certain reasons, even those in the state legislature I've heard of. Hochul has some form of a mask ban she supports in certain points. But when we remember during COVID, everybody was demonized for not wearing a mask. But
Right.
now all of a sudden it's become as if we don't remember what we went through.
Right.
And I just think that...
And you're looking at Kalman Yeager's father, an older
Simcha
politician,
Felder,
Simcha
you're
Felder, still wears a mask.
Have you seen him yet?
I have not seen him. Has anybody seen Simcha Felder? Has anybody been able to talk to him? But no, people still want to vote for him. Like people want.
Has he even shown up to one of the meetings in the city council?
Not one.
So how did he even have a say on the budget? The budget just passed.
No,
last
they
week.
do it by video, Zoom today. It's stupid. By the way, Trump was nominated by Netanyahu. It's not gonna go anywhere for the Nobel Peace
I saw
Prize.
that. I heard that.
This guy has made peace. He's calmed things down. Even Ukraine and Russia are talking. And
Yeah.
they're close. I mean, come on. Nobody could do stuff like this.
Well, I think
This man doesn't stop working.
I think Trump's biggest accomplishment so far has been foreign policy and the border. I think everything else, it's still up in the-
I like the way prices have come down.
But I think the border was a big issue.
It was a
border
big issue.
was a big
And I
issue, and
believe-
foreign policy was a big issue.
And
We were
also
kinda lacking.
Iran blowing up
Yeah,
their,
well,
their
I think
nuclear
that
things.
ties
He's
into
calmed
that.
us down. We've all been nervous about it.
No, but I think that is an important thing, that there's, a peace through strength. Ronald
Yeah.
Reagan always talked peace through
Yeah,
strength,
yeah.
and I think that that's his two biggest accomplishments.
So
far.
let's get to the real story of tonight.
Let's go for it.
I saw on the front page of the New York Post, and I posted it on our
Facebook,
YouTube,
Instagram.
on our cover story,
Yeah.
in the introduction of today's show. Adams is holding the paper and he's telling Cuomo, Cuomo's telling Adams to drop out of the race, and Adams says, no, you drop out of the race. Now, Adams said to Cuomo, look, you got less than what, 15% less than Mandani. And Cuomo's
12%.
saying, and Cuomo's telling Adams, you have no chance because you screwed up this city. So basically, we see from here Cuomo's not dropping out.
No, well, he can't drop out because he's already on the ballot. The
Doesn't make a
deadline's
difference,
passed.
but he has $25 million to spend. Will he spend it?
I think so.
And now Sliwa, they said, was going to drop out, but I saw a video from Sliwa that says, no, I'm not going
Swilla's
nowhere.
been insisting. The only thing, it was a hypothetical. Somebody asked him on Fox News a couple weeks ago, and he said, if there was a hypothetical there, but the way he answered it, then it was what the people failed to realize. I saw that interview. He said afterwards, I'm not getting out of the race. The only way I'm getting out of the race is if I'm in a box.
Right.
Swila has been dead set on the fact that
he's fighting and he's getting a lot of free publicity, even though he didn't raise any money. So somebody told me, one of our friends told me, and they said there was a poll that Walden, who had 5% of the vote, is now up to about 30% of the vote. Is it possible?
No,
No
he
way.
doesn't have 30%.
Will he affect the election in any way? You told me that originally before the show that Cuomo and Adams and Sliwa are going to take away enough votes to let Mandani win. And I said opposite. I said Mandani, Adams, and Cuomo are going to take enough votes split between them and Walden to give it to Sliwa.
I think if you want to throw Walden in there, but I don't think he has any serious
Not
traction.
even 5%?
He might be at 5.
Maybe, but you don't even believe 1%.
I mean, he could be at 1, but I don't think he's getting more than 5%. Think about it. He's running on an independent line. That's the integrity part. It's called the
5% is less than 50,000 votes.
And he's on a. Nobody knows him. Do you know who Jim? Would you know if you weren't?
He has $8
hesitant-
million.
He doesn't have it yet.
Okay.
Gets it next week.
Okay.
But the point
$8 million is, a lot of money to
it's
get
a lot
now.
of money, but you have no name record. It's not a state senate race, not a city council race, not an assembly race, not even a federal race. It's a citywide
But
race.
look where Mandani came from.
Mandani was still an assemblyman who had known the game. Walden, have you really seen? You hear him speak. Look, I think Walden's a nice guy. I know who you're talking about. The friend has sort of been a friend to us.
I spoke to a few Jewish voters in Queens who were Mandani is the assemblyman. And they said that he was a very good assemblyman and he did take care of the Jewish community, or at least he was good to the Jewish community. But they're all upset with him that he didn't condemn Hamas. So will they vote for their assemblyman to be made because he will be good to his own?
Well, it seems like right now the teachers union, the hotel workers union, they seem to be going to make the bet that they will.
But you know what? This is why it's wrong because they want for themselves. The big. What did I read? These big landlords have come out big time for Adams.
Yeah.
Okay.
Bill Ackman, right?
Right. They came out and Mandani. A Cuomo that won 11 out of the 13 homeowners districts. He won 11 out of the 13, but Mandani swept all the renter districts.
So, we had a similar.
Now, this is a problem. These guys who can't pay rent were able to give money for Mandani.
But it's a very simple thing because we
New York real estate execs throw money at Adams. So Adams is raking in the money now because the landlords are scared for them.
Well, Adams is, first of all, an incumbent. You still want to deal with the incumbent the next 6 months. But also, it goes back to the point, like you talked about the homeowner districts. Well, listen, Cuomo won the majority of the city council districts. Right. But Mandani got his vote concentrated in about 7 or 8 districts, and he was able to pull with that. Now, going back to your original point, I believe at the end of the day, if you take Adams, Cuomo, and Suila, Walden, I don't think at the moment means anything. But those 3 people are going to combine, split the vote. And I don't
believe Cuomo's splitting anything.
I think
Cuomo's getting not more than 10 or 15%.
But that's still, if you do the math, let's say it's 10% Adams.
Right, so you're looking at 150,000 votes.
But you're looking at, let's say, 10% Cuomo, 15% Adams, or you want to put 15 or 15, and then let's say
Adams is getting 25. He's getting
I don't think he's getting 25.
Vote.
No poll shows him ever crossing 15.
Really?
He is the poll.
I didn't know that.
Slingshot Strategy, which is a Democratic pollster, by the way, did a poll, and Adams is at where he's always been, 11%, 13%. He has not crossed 20.
And Mandani?
35.
35%.
He was at 39 earlier this week, 35
So again,
this week.
35%, say 15% for him, 15% for Cuomo, that's 65%. That still leaves us...
Well, the undecideds were 13. So you're talking about 50. So if you took the 3 of them together, that's 50%.
So that still leaves Sliwa a shot.
Suila's counted in there. No, so if you put Suila, Adams, Cuomo, Walden was at like 1%. If you put them 4 together, they split the vote. Mandani wins. That's the way it looks.
But you just told me Mandani's not getting more than 35%
he does, but he doesn't need to because if one guy's getting 20%, the other guy's getting 15, the other guy's getting 15, Mandani's getting 35, he wins.
And the 13% on the side...
We don't know where that goes. Okay. People could change their mind. Those could be Cuomo voters, Adams voters, Suila voters, Mandani. So basically, the Walden story is fake. He shouldn't even... I don't think that what Walden has come out for, which I don't know what you've been told... He wants to do this. Everybody should be getting together and have one candidate as this free market candidate. But he, of course, wants to go along with that because he wants to be the guy to help back the winner because his campaign, he doesn't have any traction. So right now what he's trying to do, and again...
Well, in truth, he's starting his campaign now. And
he's been around for 9 months.
$8 million like Walden. I know, but he didn't have money to run the campaign.
He had $1 million before.
$1 million is not
more than
nothing.
Suila.
Yeah, but Sliwa was the only Republican candidate. And really, Sliwa was not getting any publicity till now. Now he gets the publicity because he's one of the 4.
Yeah, but I think Suila, people know who he is. I think at the end of the day, I know people are saying, one guy called me who was a landlord today. I won't say it was. Yeah. A landlord I know here on Staten Island, and he was telling me about Suila, and I'm listening to the pitch, and he's saying, he's going to get 33%. He's going to win this. And I'm like, no. everyone keeps saying he's at 28, he's going to get the same vote, but
Right.
you're also forgetting, I said this to you when we were before off the air, I think Adams and Cuomo, and even this guy Walden, they could peel off some of Squealer's 28%. You're really looking at, to me, 22%.
I believe the Republicans are going to stay loyal in this election.
I
because
think
they
some
know
of
they have
them
a
are
shot.
going to go.
Well, then
someone
they
else.
deserve whatever
But
they
the
get.
Republican, the party that hasn't backed you, they backed Democrats against
Yeah,
you. So
yeah.
the way I see it, Barian, at the moment, Mandani at 40. I
Wow.
see 22, Squealer. I
And
see
there's no
15.
ranked choice voting.
No.
So that means whoever gets the highest doesn't have to be 50%
But I'm
of the
glad
vote.
that you brought that up because there's something you didn't have on your notes that I thought was actually very fascinating that Eric Adams wants to do. He wants to change the voting process here in New York. And here's what he wants to do at the New
Yeah.
York City level. He wants to have open primaries for everybody. Everybody in just, whether you're Democrat, Republican, and now independents, the people that have no party should vote. They should vote in June in a primary. And then
Wow.
what happens is the two candidates, the two best candidates, could be of any party. They would go on to the general election. And I think that's a brilliant idea.
I like that idea.
Because you know why it's a brilliant idea? Because right now there's a lot of people that are shut out in this process because of these closed primaries. So what happens is it's a small concentration of people. The people that picked Mandani and their voice is amplified. But now if you give Republicans, independents, and other people just to vote in a winner-takes-all top two election, I think that would add a lot more, and especially in areas like here in southern Brooklyn and elsewhere.
By the way, were the elections certified already?
They haven't been officially certified, but they did the last round of ranked choice voting. We actually have a friend of ours that is going through a recount in the city
Right,
council.
right.
Guy George Sarantopoulos. He is going into a recount with this guy Barsimian, Dick Van
The
Barsimian,
chairman
of the
of the
Republican Party,
Republican Party.
who's down. He's down by 14 votes.
It was down by 49.
was down 46, and then sort of there's some stuff out there. I'm not going to get into that because I don't know what's what, but I'm going to take the
40
high road.
votes, and 40 of the votes couldn't even be counted, they said.
Yeah, it was something about a whole bunch of different
How
ballots.
could that be with the computers today?
Well, because he's the chairman, Barsimian, and he's
No, but
trying to
how
find
do
a way to
40
win the
votes
election.
get ruined? There should be 0 votes with
That's
the new
you know
system.
what? I'm not involved
The
in
Board
that.
of Elections has to be fired.
But we're getting a recount election for the first time in a long time, and we're getting it between these two guys, and
and
you
more
know,
money, another $1 million will be spent.
And one of your former employees
I
is going
want
to
to
get some
show
more
you
money.
how corrupt, my partner was sitting with me, how corrupt the justice system is.
All right, I want to hear this.
Okay, so we have this guy P. Diddy, who's
Yes.
Sean Combs.
Nothing but the
And they
Benjamins
put him
here.
in jail for like 20 different crimes. You're
Yep.
right, he had these freak-off parties. He did
You
some
asked
bad-
me what that was, and I told you about it
Right.
before we went
So
on the air.
they said that he brought women across the state lines.
Yeah.
And
Like the Mason-Dixon
But then they
line.
tried to charge him for RICO, which they could have never gotten.
RICO Act, yeah.
So they were just throwing stuff at him, so he should give up and make a deal, because 95% of the time the feds win. But he didn't make a deal, and he won on every case except for 2 cases where he told women who were women of escort women, he brought them over the line, he gave them money, and so now he's guilty of transporting them over state lines when they really came of their own free will. Now, here's my problem. Let's
right.
just say that he's guilty of this crime.
Okay.
His girlfriend, who testified against him,
Ex-girlfriend, yeah.
ex-girlfriend, who he gave $20 million to shut him
Cassie,
out,
former singer.
she herself did the same crime, bringing women over the state line to come for these parties.
So here's my answer.
Why isn't she arrested?
My answer was she was a woman.
Yeah, but Giselle something got arrested for helping Epstein.
That's a different case. I'm not privy to those
Right.
details.
All I know is you see how
You're the lawyer. You're the lawyer.
I'm going to be the lawyer. You know what I'm proud of today?
What?
The Supreme, every minute that Trump does something, some judge is putting an injunction, somebody's suing him that he can't do this, he can't do that. Today, the Supreme Court, 8-1, which means even the leftist judges,
Sotomayor, yep.
and who else? The other one? They both voted
Kagan.
for...
Not to be confused with Ari Kagan. There's another
Right.
Kagan.
Supreme Court gives Trump a major win as Sotomayor and Kagan side with the administration. They granted President Donald Trump a stay pending appeal, affirming that his administration has the executive order directing...
I think Jackson was the one that voted against it.
Right. That he's allowed to fire people. It is his administration.
Well, that's obviously what
And his
the court
executive orders are good. Well, finally...
Well, I think that the argument would be is that the federal branch, if they're setting a policy toward federal workers, that it's just like if you're a legislature, if you're a state body, or if you're a city body or municipality, and you want to pass laws that you're bound and legally able to do, that's probably the court's argument. And the court doesn't want to get involved in something like that. That's why you even saw judges like Sotomayor and Kagan maybe side with the other justices, because the Supreme Court wouldn't want to get involved in a law that's
it's finally around a good thing. Also, remember that judge in Wisconsin that helped the immigrant against the ICE? So there's a judge that recommends that the case against this Wisconsin judge, Hannah Dugan, should proceed. And Thursday, whatever that is, the right. But I want to go back to P. Diddy or Sean Combs.
Yeah.
The man was found not guilty on 3 charges of the very bad crimes. He was found doing some prostitution, which is a lot of prostitutes and the pimps or whatever they're.
I wouldn't know.
And usually when they get arrested, they'll get 2 years, 3 years, whatever it is. But you usually allow to let on bail. They're saying he's still violent. Stop it. And then waiting till October to sentence him. So now he has to sit in jail even longer. So you're right. Whatever jail sentence he gets credit for it.
Yeah, we talked about this on last week's show.
But they should sentence him already. Why couldn't they do a quick sentencing? Why didn't they say, listen, here's the sentencing guidelines, we accept it?
Because I guess maybe there's certain things that are being appealed or certain things, I don't know. I mean, that's a question that, again, you're the lawyer. I'm not the lawyer.
So every one of you, you all like...
And while you fix this, I want to get to some comments.
I just want to say one thing. Yes. Okay, go ahead.
Black Beauty wants to say Bidenomics is over.
Thank God. Thank God.
Infinity Justice wants to say that the rate of income has to exceed the rate of debt for the debt to go down, I suppose.
Correct. That's what I was saying.
Well, we'll find out. We haven't found that out yet. But also, Marty Martinez wants to say the UFT is planning to support Zorhan. Yes, they were voted 63
How do we stop this United Federation of Teachers?
They're right.
I mean, maybe we just fire all the teachers.
I'll tell you how we stop
Most
them.
of those teachers are no good.
But you know, there's a simpler way. Teachers, if you're a teacher right now, you need to vote the way you should be voting in the ballot box. Nobody should be told how to vote.
How do you let your union support your... I mean, was there a vote? Did they come
There was a vote. 63 to 37 was the percentage.
That was... Really? The people themselves were
the
voted?
Union, those that had a vote in the union, the vote tallied.
That was the union representatives.
Yeah.
But not the 3 million or the 2 million teachers
I don't know
in that
if it's
union.
2 million.
I think it's 3 because the UFT
I don't think they get that many.
No, they're not only from New York City. UFT
no, I
is
think
around the country.
Well, I don't think they vote that way, but I think it's basically within whatever their leadership was.
That's wrong. The leadership is a bunch of woke idiots.
But the reason they did that is because they're looking at it like they're making an educated guess. They're thinking that Zorhan wins, becomes mayor, and when their contract is coming up, because it will eventually come up again, they're figuring by backing him, even though he takes positions that are against even some of their members, that by going with him, he'll give them a better contract.
Wow.
That's what they do.
That's what, even the rent, you think that Zohan thinks he can give free rents to people. I mean, we'll be suing the crap out of him.
I was talking to a landlord on the way here in Staten Island, and he was telling me exactly what you said. He said, how is it that this guy thinks he's going to be able to give free rents to people? Right. He's like, I'm a landlord. What am I supposed to do when my
All I know is if you're telling me that there's no rent, I'm going to throw them out. I mean, the city's telling me you don't have to pay rent.
Maybe he wants to control the buildings and build them, and
then I have to pay taxes. He'll take away the buildings.
Well, that's going to be.
There's going to be a big war. Trust me. Also,
we'll
here's the thing with Adams. Right. I like Adams.
Me too. I heard his speech. He was really good. I caught him at a town hall in Queens, and he speaks really well.
The problem that we have with Adams is every minute there's another.
I know.
Another.
It's like the faucet when it drips. It just keeps dripping and dripping and dripping.
And here it is. The former NYP chief detectives allege that promotions were sold in a new lawsuit.
Yep.
The suit questions about transfers into the NYT Special Victims Division. It says that unusually high number of unverted detectives were being transferred into the special victims unit. I mean, promotions are being given to guys that don't belong there, while older guys are not. And the point is a lot of controversy and a lot of, what's the word, fraud going on, or
a lot of corruption.
Corruption. So it's maybe not Adams himself, but it's constantly happening in his administration. And it's not like when I have a bad worker, not that he's stealing, because the guy who steals gets out. But if there was stolen stuff or something happens bad in my operation and you're overseeing it and you can't seem to control it once, twice, 3, 4 times, goodbye.
So I want to go back to this story. And this story ties into the polling that we talked about 10 minutes ago. And that's important because this is exactly why Eric Adams is in the predicament that he's in for an incumbent mayor, because from day one, there has been story after story with him. Yeah. Whether he's beaten the charges, whether these stories like this or whatever it is, that's kind of dogged him, and that's why there is a point to be made, whether it's from the Cuomo camp or even from the Mandani camp or even Suila and his camp, is that if Eric Adams didn't have these problems and he knew he couldn't win a Democratic primary, he would obviously not be running as an independent because of all these problems he went through. He knew in a Democratic primary he wasn't going to get anything more than 10, 15%. And that's kind of why he's stuck in the
Adams City Hall says crime is down, less shootings. Let me just tell you.
Yeah, I want to hear this.
Right after he said that on July 3rd and 4th, an off-duty NYPD officer was carjacked in the Bronx. Okay? Yeah. It's like we're not scared of the cops at all. We can beat them up. We can hit them back.
And that's because, at the end of the day, it's because of Andrew Cuomo and bail reform. The reason we have all this problem with crime is not so much Eric Adams. Yeah, I think he could have did better on certain things, but it's Andrew Cuomo was the guy that signed that no cash bail law in the state legislature when he was the governor. He could have vetoed that law. He could have pressured his own party because they controlled the majority in the Senate and the Assembly at that time to change or maybe block that bill. He didn't do that. He's the guy. Right. So at the end of the day...
So now we have Cuomo that should be not voted in.
Yeah.
People are saying Sliwa has no experience whatsoever to run the city. Mandani is lost completely. We don't know what this guy wants to do with
But
himself.
There's people that like him, though. He does Mandani. That same
He's a nice young 33-year-old kid. Nobody's saying anything. Well, I have a lot of... the problem with this is I don't believe that his brain is working correctly. Do you know that Mandani identified himself as an African-American and Indian?
Yeah.
I mean, come on. I mean, do you know that his father, a professor, said that Hitler was influenced by Abraham Lincoln?
Listen,
I mean, come on. You say these things. You get angry with me when I say bad things about stupid things about women.
I mean, I don't.
Not only you, but you know.
No,
but
I'm actually was one of the people on the shows. Heshy, be Heshy.
Right. So here's a comment that the man is like Hitler. Hitler learned from Abraham Lincoln. I mean,
well, that's where Eric Adams is spot on. See, Eric Adams is absolutely right when it comes to Mandani and his lack of record. That's where you're spot on. Eric Adams has a record. Eric Adams, at the very least, you see what you get from Eric Adams. Eric Adams has been the mayor of Faith.
And Mandani voted only 3 times in the Assembly.
He passed 3 bills. That's it. Where Eric Adams, listen, he was a state senator. He was a police officer. He was the borough president. And he was the mayor.
I want to say something bad about Mandani because I watched a video of him today.
Okay.
Dressing up with big hair and making fun and making a funny rap song about Hanukkah, making fun of the Jews.
So he wasn't doing the Adam Sandler version.
He wasn't doing the Adam Sandler version. So a guy like that now he can say it was a joke and comedy, but it was like a real funny thing, making fun of the Jews and Hanukkah in a video that you knew was in a bad way.
Yeah, well, that's why he's making funny. I agree with you. I do want to say hello to our friend, Mr. Justin Parsley. He's the hall monitor of Sports 5 Radio, and he wanted to chime in and say that he can't think of a better duo east of the Mississippi, and hope all is well, gents. And also, Justin wants to say, you can't Hitler on most music media. Have you guys been keeping up on Kanye or mostly just Cuomo? We definitely have been following up. I don't think Heshy's got Kanye in his... phone, but he does know a little bit about it. But,
right, I know a lot about Kanye.
You do?
He's like somebody I don't even want to. I mean, even Sean P. Diddy or Combs.
P. Diddy.
The only reason I talk about him and even know him because I met him once at the bathhouse.
Oh, you did?
And I gave him a plate, and I tried to make him cry, but that man was made out of solid rock. So I remember when I took a picture with him, and I've seen him.
You should get that poster, that photo of you and him. We should put it on the show next week.
Yeah,
that
that's
you
what
have
I
that
need
photo
to do.
because that could get us some more viewers. And it might want people to call in. If you want to give us a call, you got a few more minutes. 646-974-1580. So if you want to call in, you got about 5 minutes to call. Go ahead.
my thing to you is I want to talk about something very serious.
Mm-hmm.
I was driving to the city, and my son is telling me, and the guys who I'm in the car with, congestion pricing. And yes, I seem to be paying it almost every day.
Yes.
And so
I
is
agree
my
with you
sons.
on
I
that.
try to take the highway and try to skip around it. But I'm telling you now, congestion pricing, you're right, the state says it's making a lot of money. But I don't see the congestion down. I see the same traffic that it's worse.
Absolutely.
I don't see more cops or more traffic.
I was on the train yesterday. I was on the
And
yard.
the trains are terrible.
Oh,
with not
my
even air
goodness.
conditioning. I was on a train.
Yeah.
And it was like I almost died.
I
of the heat.
had the same story. Yesterday, I was coming back from Manhattan, and I take the R. Usually, I'll take the N to 59th Street. I'll take it to 8th Avenue and connect to a bus into Bay Ridge. This time, I said, I'm going to take the R. I'm hot. I don't want to wait. It's too hot. And it goes to first stop Union Street. I'm like, all right, I'm going to be... It took 20 minutes after that to move again. And no reason why. Just no reason. Just stop moving.
I usually take the F train, but this time I had to take the Q train because I was going to downtown Brooklyn.
Oh, okay.
And boy, was I in trouble. It was like the worst train I've ever taken. And I know they're shutting it down. They're doing fix on
Every day there's work. The N's been rerouted this week. The D was rerouted last week.
But with all this money, we should be building and fixing and going.
And bus service in Brooklyn, forget about it.
Yeah.
The B16's always late. The B1, let's not even go there.
But
The
they know how to give us
B82, the
tickets.
B6,
But
the B9, your district here,
but-
right up. Forget about it.
But we know how to give tickets. They work fine on those cameras. I get them all the time.
Yeah.
We know the cops sitting
Oh,
on the
they'll definitely
corner-
work.
Right. And the cops sitting on the corners for $80, $90 and giving you $100
And
ticket.
I just read that speed cameras now, Governor Hochul signed a law extending them into 2030.
Yeah.
So that thanks to our legislators here, like Kalman Yeager, like Simca Eisenstein and Sam Sutton,
And Simcha Felder.
and Simca Felder, and we're going to be paying more.
Yeah, yeah. So you guys don't understand. You're letting them tax you here $10, here $20, raising your taxes by 12%. You know, in Long Island, that whole community, they had to fire the whole government. They raised their taxes by double because they were so anti-Semitic. In Long Island, there was a town where they were so anti-Semitic they wouldn't let a Jewish synagogue open up and pay for everything themselves. So they went to court and they lost over $1 million. And then they had to pay a fine. So they had to double all the town taxes of real estate, almost double it, to pay off this bill. Mm-hmm. And they had to all resign right afterwards. I think like one person stayed on from the whole city council. This is the point of anti-Semitism. And even in Australia.
It's on the rise. Yeah, it's terrible.
We have to learn to fight back. I'm not going to learn to run away. I know what my deal is. And I'm good to go. And I love this city.
Well, you definitely do, and I know also, let me get to this. Here we go. Infinite Justice's comment, now I see it. Voting is a joke. In order to win, they should have a minimum 65% voter participation rate.
Right.
That's a good point. That's actually a
But they're
good
not going
point.
to come out. There is no 65%. Now, I heard that Adams is going out to try to register 1 million new voters. That's what he
How is
says.
he going to do that? 1 million?
1 million new voters. This way, if he goes, I mean, you do have 2-3 months. You go door to door.
1 million?
stand up.
Have you seen any Adams people?
I know.
No.
Yeah, he
If I
can't
would be
have-
shocked.
He couldn't
if-
even get the signatures together.
I was going to
properly.
say, I would be shocked if he registers 1,000 voters.
Yeah. I don't know, but we should all go out to vote. I don't know, but again, the world politics today. By the way, the Australian in Australia, some guy went to a synagogue.
Oh, God.
And lit the door on fire and tried to kill the people inside. Nothing happened. So finally, Australia, which is one of the most prejudiced people in the world, if
They
you
were one
ever
of the
go
worst
there.
during COVID,
Even
by the way. They were one of the worst.
and Ireland, you know, I can't believe that the Irish people hate the Jews so much.
And that's
or
why I haven't
Israel.
gone to Ireland as a
Me
feral
too.
Irishman.
But
I'm not going
Bernie
there now.
Sanders, who is the biggest woke non-Israel supporter, who's a Jew.
I know.
I believe that Bernie Williams is a self-hating Jew. He went to Ireland to speak, and people got up and screamed at him and said, "Look, you're a bad man. You're a Jew. Even the Jew haters are hated."
You know, some people are just...
I can't understand. I thought I liked the Irish people. They have such nice accents.
Well, I hope you like me still, Heshy. But Black Beauty, though, wants to say that call back 1 million refugees to vote for Adams.
I'm scared. Do you know, did I tell you that a lot of poll workers, and this is a fact, a lot of poll workers are not citizens or registered to vote? Now, when they're in the poll sites, do they vote? Do they steal a vote? Do they trick? Why are they even allowed to work in a poll site if you're not a registered voter?
Well, I mean, obviously...
A poll site should only be for people who are citizens or registered to vote.
You have power now. You have a district leader in your name.
That's why I want you to know if the vote was certified.
No, it's not certified yet, but I do have a couple comments I want to get to from Tinsel Fan. Very good comment here. Will there be candidates in 2026 against Eichenstein, Sutton, and Yeager? Republicans will do better with Elise Stefanik on top of the ticket.
My deal is as follows.
Okay.
If I win for city council, that means I'll have a little bit of strength.
You're the councilman.
I'm the councilman.
Borough Park.
I will go after. There's no way I'm not going after Yeager's seat. That means
I think Yeager's beatable regardless.
He's beatable.
He's beatable.
But nobody wants to put up the money. So if I win as councilman, I will have 4 years to breathe. I will find good candidates, and we're going to knock Yeager. There's no question. Yeager has to go.
I think Sutton and Yeager are beatable. I think they're beatable.
Forget Sutton, but Yeager must go, and Sutton must go. I like Eichenstein. Oh, I don't know why I'm calling him Eichenstein. His name is Eichenstein. I'm following you, the non-Jewish guy from Staten Island. But I like Eichenstein because he does care about the people. But he has some crazy things in his head.
Yeah, but he goes along with the Democrats. I know what you're saying, but you know what? That's the same philosophy.
But he picks up his phone. You know, he'll tell you the truth. I'm not going to write you a letter.
But he goes out and stands with Heasty. He goes out there and stand. You know, he's not fighting. Is he really fighting?
He also wants to move up in the ranks now. He's getting high up in the. He's only in his.
He's got a war chest. He's got $1 million in his
and he's only
account.
about 40 years old, so he has 20 more years to go to work in that assembly. He's not going nowhere, and he'll get moved up to a very high position over there.
So that means he'll be going along with all the radicals.
Yeah, that's what he has to do.
So that means that's exactly why Tinsel fans right.
But he knows how to be a deal maker. He does help people.
But what has he done to fight what's been going on and happening? So then there's no point in having him in there. Tinsel fan's exactly right. Yeager, Sutton, and Eichenstein all should have count challenge. I don't care if you call him Eichenstein, whatever it is. They all got to face, and not call caller, not what they've done before.
But all I know is people said, Heshy, you cannot stop the city council. I've been doing a lot of research and legal work. One council member can stop the vote. One council member can cause a lot of issues in the city council and can make changes. You're right. When there is a vote that comes up, he could be stopped. But one councilman can cause a lot of issues to this city council and can make changes. That's why 1 of 51 is important.
No, I do agree with that because the city council is different than the state legislature because the council member, you can pass bills, introduce them. You can be a deciding factor in committees. You can be somebody that has zoning laws that you can go influence and change.
And you have a lot of power with distribution of money,
discretionary funding,
staffing, and you could also work with a councilman and override the mayor.
I think the city council is, believe it or not, as crazy as this sounds in 2025, a lot less partisan than the state legislature. So I think as a council member, you can make some change. Let me get to Tinsel Fan making some really great points tonight here. I hope there are candidates. It's crazy. They're always uncontested. Even impacts the country because if Dems have a supermajority, they can gerrymander Congress. That's a great point because in New York, they tried to gerrymander New York and that was prohibited. So he makes a good point. And guys like Sutton, guys like Yeager, guys like Simcha Eichenstein, they are going along with the Democrats ultimately. So
Sutton was one of the worst real estate developers, money takers, who never really made a profit with him. Only only his buddies, and a lot of little people lost. Why did you put this guy into power? We didn't put him in, by the way. He was just shoved in and won the nomination.
Because Barsimian put up a guy that doesn't even know where he is right now. I mean, that's why.
But also, it's Barsimian put up a guy that did him a favor.
Yeah.
And that's not the way it should work. You got to put up the most proper candidate, a good, young, strong-minded person who believes in the country.
But they're not interested, and that's why Barsimian himself is in a predicament where he's a loser.
But I don't want to say that because Richie Barsimian is my chairman. And, and I did, somebody told me that I called him a thief and so on.
Yeah.
So if in any way I did insult the chairman, I was disappointed with him. I was upset with him at the time.
He's been against you.
He's been against me. So I might have taken it out of context if I say something I would never say.
No, Heshy B.
And I never said anything bad about his family.
Okay, I agree with you. We don't want to talk about no one's family. But the facts are is that this guy is in a predicament where he's down in a recount. And so at the end of the day, don't feel sorry for speaking up about the fact that the chairman, this guy who you said you are chairman, he's the guy that allowed Yeager to go uncontested. Yeah. He's the guy that put up some guy against Sutton. He's the guy that has not put up anybody to run in different places. Yeah, so at the end of the day, he's not going to be what you want.
But he is the chairman, and I did go to war with him.
But it's embarrassing still at the end of the day for a sitting chairman with all these politicians backing him. He goes everywhere. He's there in this. That he's losing to a guy in George Sarantopoulos who really had no business to win that primary. I mean, I know George Sarantopoulos, I'm going to say it. He really shouldn't have got more than a third of the vote against this guy.
But George worked hard.
He worked hard.
George budgeted his money.
He did.
But
Barsimian had the power. He had the power, and now he's
could have
gone.
knocked George out, but George worked hard. And that's a very good point to most of you. And we lost our Instagram on the...
Well, somebody's there on Instagram. And also, Infinite Justice thinks Donald Trump Jr. should have ran for mayor.
Wow.
I kind of agree because I just don't see Sweela... Go in there. I know you're the Republican candidate for city council. I get that he's your running mate, but I don't see him winning. I just think at the end of the day, people ask me everywhere I go here in Brooklyn and in Staten Island, I have had people talk to me the last week, come out of the works. They say, Tom, what do you think? I'm going to get to them in a minute. But they say, what do you think about Sweela? I said, he could win on paper, but he won't. He won't. That's what it comes down to. We want to thank everybody that's here on the radio. 102.7 FM WNEW, the legendary rock and roll radio station. Heshy's favorite place, home away from home, 1640 WJPR in beautiful Miami, Florida. And, of course, our flagship, 620 AM WSNR. Thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in. And we'll see you next week.
And I hope you all like my joke.
Yes, and also visit us, HeshyTischler.com. Email him, justenoughheshy@gmail.com. Also, 5318 16th Avenue.
And we'll be here through the hot summer. We're not going to run away from you or jump you.
No.
We're here every week, Wednesday nights at 9 o'clock.
Eastern time.
Eastern time.
I say that to people. They're like, well, what do you mean? Well, you got to tell people the time zone. There's people out there. We have Justin Parsley, who's in Indiana, watching us. We have some of the Sports Wire crowd tonight watching us. Because I promoted you, by the way, on Instagram.
But I have a lot of little snippets that go out in the thousands on YouTube and TikTok because they don't watch the whole
I'm on
show.
TikTok.
But we're pretty much here in New York City, and we talk a lot of the local
Brooklyn,
politics,
beautiful South Brooklyn.
Right? And I love America. I would talk a lot more about it. I want to tell you something. Now that our main listeners are gone,
yes,
you do know in Texas. And I'm not
oh my God, so terrible. Please pray for Texas, everybody. If you're out there right now, please pray for them.
But here's my problem.
Okay.
You are responsible for children. You're going out to the campgrounds. Camping is outdoors where you have wild animals, where fires can get off the hook. Mm-hmm. You have to be constantly vigilant. You have to be constantly that somebody jumps into a lake. There was a kid that drowned recently upstate.
Horrible.
You have to be constantly watching them. Now you're on a camping trip in the middle of the night. You're right, beautiful weather, and you are warned it's going to rain. Now don't go out there. But forget that you're a real man. I understand the real mountain, the real camping guys can do that. But when you have young children or campers, you don't take that chance. Yeah. Then you're warned with a storm warning not to be there. And you still stayed out there. Oh, it's not going to be nothing. Even though we know half the times the weather people are wrong, and they were on the button this time. Every single call. Get out of there. Over 111 people are reported dead.
Probably going to go up.
For them. And now I heard somebody else said that there's so many other campers. We were just focusing
Trump's
on the campsites.
supposed to go down there Friday, I think.
Right. But we were focusing on the campsites. They said if you look at the RVs and other places down the road, down the river, he says there could be 500 dead due to this flash flood.
Yeah, it's horrible.
You guys have to be vigilant. I go camping every year. I go rafting all the time. And I'm very careful. I know the weather. You're right. Sometimes the weather is bad or might rain. But if I see the forecast is so bad or even could be bad, I don't go. One year we had the forecast that was good. When we got upstate, it started to rain. Just started to rain crazy. Just like that. So I told all
I
70
mean,
of the
listen,
people with me.
but Black Beauty makes a point that there were people who stayed home too and were lost in the flood. It's a horrible thing. I mean, it's a horrible tragedy. It's, it's like Superstorm Sandy, right? Sandy impacted us here in Garrison Beach in Brooklyn, Manhattan Beach, Brighton Beach, Sheepshead Bay, and certainly on Staten Island. There were people that they had no other options. They were home, they weren't home, and
yeah, but if you're in a flood zone or you're warned to get out, get out. In New York City, we were warned during COVID. You see, we shut down, even though I thought it was wrong.
Yeah, me too.
Okay, that was completely wrong. I mean, so you can't tell me that these people at the campsites were wrong because they're professionals and they see that this happens every once in a while.
Well,
maybe
unfortunately,
not such a
it
big
happens.
Yeah.
It's a terrible thing.
Maybe it's not so bad, but you know that if it happened now every 2 or 3 years, this happens over there. Okay,
Yeah.
it's flooded. I always go to different. I go down to Delaware River every year.
Yeah.
Sometimes the river
I just
is
spoke to
higher.
somebody just before
Right, but
about that.
sometimes the river is high, sometimes the river is lower. Why? Because there's a lot of rain happening. I was telling you a story. I went out there one year and it was raining. I told all 70 of my people we're going home, and everybody said, "Oh no, we're going to go down the river." I said, "You cannot go down the river. It's too dangerous." So as a joke. I said, you know what? My great-great-great-great-grandfather, Moses Tischler, got on and hit a rock and made water. I'm going to get on a rock and stop the rain. So as a joke, there was a big, gigantic rock, and everybody was having a good laugh.
Yeah.
And we had all our things, and we were ready to go. We just had our course, and I was telling everybody we're going to have to take off our jackets and go, and they were all, sad.
Yeah.
So just to make them happy, I got on this big, gigantic rock, and I started screaming at the heavens to stop the rain and freaking out. I swear to God. And about 1 minute later, it stopped raining and the sun came out. And everybody it was like the best time of our trip. We stopped off we made a barbecue. And I said, for sure, there's no way I stopped the rain. But I really think I stopped the rain.
Well, that's like almost, listen, you know what? There's a metaphor here in this, and that right now the city is going through a lot. We have no idea what's going to happen the last few months, but we are going to get through it regardless. Nobody's going anywhere. We will find a way to have that sunshine. We will provide it for you here on this show. Right. We will do that each and every Wednesday, 9 o'clock Eastern time. Thank you, everybody here, for tuning in this week. If you are here, hit the sub button for Heshy, Just Enough Heshy 7005. I'm on SportsWire Radio at 6579 SportsWire Radio on YouTube. Thank you. I'm Tom. That's Heshy, and we'll see you next week. Be safe out there, and don't get caught up in any floods. And Heshy won't be able to help you get out, but we'll see you next week.